You know, if it wasn't for the mishap with Miss Mildred yesterday, it would have been an absolutely incredible first week of qualifiers for the 2-year-olds. Now, I waited to do some of these videos because obviously a lot of people were down in the dumps after the first 3-year-old sophomore wave of qualifiers, and then to see a horse like No Free Lunch come out and finish second in 51 after qualifying in 58 and 55 was nothing short of incredible. Mario did a great job in Kawartha Downs, and I'll touch on this a little more in his barn and then in general. Putting the horses in where they can win is paramount in this game, and there's no easy money. But Mario found a couple of easy races for his horses yesterday. That's his job, and he did a great job with it. First glance looked incredible, and Walk on the Moon, long time coming for this guy. 2 moves driving away. That's a big confidence builder for him. So great job by Mario, great job by the horses. Yesterday, back to the 2-year-olds, we had a great 2-year-old session for the most part. Obviously, the injury to Miss Mildred is going to hurt for a very long time, but at the same time, we have to focus on the entire banner, the entire stable banner, and looking at the horses we have ready to go, looking at the horses that are qualified or will be qualifying. It's an exciting looking 2021 year. Looking at Almost There, Boss, been in 2 minutes. Johnny said he trained good the other day for he went with him, I believe, for Harry. Still a little bumpy in spots, but I think those wrinkles will come out. We throw a little speed at him. Maybe have the vet touch him up one more time, but he looked very, very good the other day from what I'm told. Amor Diener, a great first trip for him. He'll go another trip if Mario thinks he's good enough to come over for the Stallion Series or the Sire Stakes, and that's where we'll be going right away with him. We want to be able to bring these horses along properly. There's no need to throw them to the fire, and we'll talk more about this down this list a little bit. There's a couple of horses in particular I want to talk about in that regard, but for now, Amor Diener qualified well the other day. I was very happy with him. Obviously needs another strong qualifier. I'd like to see him come back in 2 minutes, and then we'll decide where we're going to race him. Is he going to race in the Sire Stakes? Is he going to race in the All-Stars? Is he going to race in the Stallion Series? Wherever he races, we want to make sure that he can do, and that is going to be the phrase of the 2021 summer racing season. Put them in where they can do. So, Amor Diener, Arches Rainbow, tied up with Sicker last start. Quite frankly, she may not qualify this week. It depends what Johnny can get her ASD down to, how comfortable she is. Both her and Mischievous Rose scoped with mucus in their throat also. Is that allergy mucus? Is that going to mean they're going to have a light July? I don't know. And if it does, so be it. I don't care. But we're not going down this path that we've gone down in the previous years. You know, we have to learn from our mistakes. And not every horse is the same, not every year is the same, but we have to be able to learn from our mistakes. And understanding that if the horses have allergies, right? The medicine that is available to race horses on, potentially, tests now. It used to be in the old days, you could use light cortisones, you could use antihistamines. Not only do they test now, but the positive test, the suspensions are quite long. So if you happen to make a mistake, you know, if you have antihistamine powder in the barn, and Johnny and I had this conversation yesterday, if you have antihistamine powder in the barn, somehow ends up in the horse's feet, and it can. It absolutely can. Easily happen. That's a lengthy suspension. I think it's a 6-month suspension for a mistake that was made. And quite frankly, it doesn't help that much. You know, you still scope them, but you can't fix the allergy problem. You guys, you might be out there and you have allergies. You take Claritin or allergy medication. It isn't perfect though. You still feel it, right? And that's how the horses are. And we have to be able to understand that if they're not equipped and they're not ready to race in July because of this allergy issue, pump the brakes. Don't race them. We have August. We have September. We're going to have October, November with these horses this year. There's no rush. Just let it pass, let it dissipate, and manage them properly. I think we have the ability to do that. And you know, Johnny brought up some great points about the horses yesterday. Just use your head. We got some very talented horses here. I'm not going down the paths we've gone down with horses in the previous years that I perceived that were mistakes on my part. So we need to learn from those mistakes. Arches Rainbow's AST was 2,300. Can it come down enough for her to qualify next week? Probably. But if everything isn't right, I'm not qualifying her. And I said that to Johnny. Do not, please, no matter what I say on the video, what you hear me say, or what pressure you feel, I need you to understand you are not under any pressure to race the horses if they're not 100%. That's first and foremost. You know, a guy like Johnny wants to do good, takes his job seriously. And that's not to say that Harry, Mario, Jason, everybody else doesn't also. They do. Everybody wants to do the best they can for the team. But at the same time, please don't feel the pressure. You have to put them in to go if they're not 100%, or put them in to go if you don't think they're ready to go. If they're not ready, they're not ready. So Archer's Rainbow, minor things she's dealing with. If she's ready to go next week, then fine, she's ready to go. And if she's not, then it'll be the week after. Better Be Sawyer, great. I talked to Sylvain Filion quickly. He said the horses were good, and they were good, right? They weren't awesome. Century Invictus 27-3 in the end of 58-3, following, right? Twinkle in her eye, follow 2-1, 28-3. She needs a couple other hard qualifiers. But he said Better Be Sawyer. He said she's a gritty little bugger. You can see how tiny she is around the other horses, but 28 in the end of it, 58. She looked very, very good, and he just kind of coasted her up in behind James, finishing up with Blake's filly. Yeah, she's probably a really nice grassroots filly. She's handy. She's gonna be fun to race this year. She's a little rocket. So very happy with Better Be Sawyer. Blue Bayou Dio just looked like when the gate pulled away, she just kind of lost her train of thought and made a break on James. And James was honest about it. He said, she just felt so good. It never dawned on me that she would make a break. Had I brought her into the gate rather than putting her up on it, who knows? That's hindsight stuff. It's not the end of the world. If she's not right behind the box of the car, she's not right there. If she's out to the outside or to the inside, I don't think that happens. But we'll see next week. We'll come back next week with her. Still excited to see what's going to happen with Blue Bayou Dio. Bomb Hugger was very, very good the other day. Travis went with her 2-2 last quarter in 29. Probably come back with her Thursday, a mile and 59, 2 minutes, maybe. We'll see. What else do we got here? Century Invictus, as I said, 58 last quarter, 27-3. Bigger colt, bigger frame, so hopefully you can pack some muscle onto him, get him going, see what he can do. Confederate Cruiser was very good last half, 57 last quarter, 28, or 27-4, 28, something like that. First over, and looked very, very good doing it. Duke Dio trained awesome the other day in the mud, trained good again on Saturday. Expecting good things from this colt. I'm looking at his frame, his muscle over his rump. I think he's about 2-3 weeks, 2-3 fast miles, and you see it, right? If you're a horseman out there, you see the difference when you get 2 or 3 or 4 fast miles into these babies, how they start to fill out and put on muscle that they couldn't otherwise. That's where Duke Dio is. Trained great, schooled, very, very good. He's going to qualify this week, but that muscle on his rump needs to come forward. It's just from work, just work. LSL, who is now Prince Val. I guess I gotta move that down to the P's. We'll talk about him just now, the way he is, though. Prince Tab. Don't know any phone. Tab. So we had him in the L spot. LSL was good the other day, but again, coming off the virus, was he 100%? Was everything good? He still needs to put some weight on. He still needs to shine up a little bit. So this guy here, going to be a couple more weeks with him, I believe. Is he going to re-qualify next week? I'll leave that up to him. We'll see. Eyes at 10. Now, we talked about not putting the horse, not expecting too much, not putting the horses in a bad spot. I do the best I can as a driver not to do it on the track, but we need to do a perfect job of it all summer with our horses. Eyes at 10 was a filly we had slated for the next generation from the first day we made the payment. Always was. But now that we're starting into those faster halves and quarters, she's a little unsure of herself. She's touching a jack, touching a knee. It's not the end of the world. Purple Aura touches a knee and a jack also, but she's a bigger, stronger filly that's filled out, and she pushed forward. Now, without the hobbles, she feels unsure of herself. Now, before you ask the obvious question, can we just put the hobbles on Eyes at 10? The answer would be right away, no, not yet. It's a possibility, but geez, at no point does she want to run, but she does get a little self-conscious when she's touching herself. So we have lots of options. I would think the more logical choice would to not race her in the next generation and put her in a position where she's uncomfortable. That is what I would like not to do with this filly. So we'll see how she is over the next week or so, but that's the way it's probably playing out just now. Understand that we have a nice horse, but that mental acuity, that understanding of the game, and the ability to, put it all together, take all the tools that we've given you, take all your stamina, all your power, all your strength, and put it into a perfect race. That's not something easy to do. It's most definitely not easy to do with a 2-year-old trotting filly. We have 2 that are there right now, and Isa 10's not there yet. Now, she's got 2.5 weeks, so we're not going to talk about it in definitives just yet, but realistically looking at it, it makes a lot more sense to maybe lean towards not putting her in the next generation. We'll see. But again, I can't be any more clear in saying it has nothing to do with speed. This filly has all the speed in the world. Being able to use it properly, that's something different. Where are we at? Garden State Dio said she was a little rolly in the qualifier the other day. Probably want to get her knees done and come back with her next week. That's likely what we'll do. Grace was incredible the other day. I can't really ask for much more than that. 2-1, 27-4 on the end of it. I don't know. You tell me. She looked pretty good. Pretty good. James was pretty excited about her. I don't think she's a gold filly, but she's going to be a damn good grass runner. She can get around any size track, and she's got that killer instinct. I love this filly. I've loved her for quite a while. Very happy to see her do the work she's done. You know, we had OCDs removed from this filly, trained her down, didn't really know she made breaks. Is she too small? Can she do it? And then all of a sudden she just put it all together, and good for her. Very happy to see Grace doing well. Granite Hill, I told you I just need till June to qualify him. June 10th he was qualified. Now, was it a nice qualifier? 2-5-4, but we got him there. And the difference between Granite Hill and horses historically, it's hard. You see the same trends. You know, we talk about horses in the past that were hitting themselves and needed time to mature and grow out of it. Some of them didn't. Some of them did. This horse is not that horse. This horse is a big colt. It was very weak in the stifles. I believe he had APM. We've Baycoxed him and we'll continue to. But now that I believe we have him under control. Now he's starting to go through this massive growth spurt. His stifles are starting to get stronger. His back is starting to put that muscle on, and I think you're going to see him get better and better and better. Much like a little bit of a slow freight train, but you'll see him get better and better and better as the year goes on. Realistically, what would I like to see? A nice fair colt grow into a decent Buckeye colt. Put him away healthy and strong. Bring him back healthy and stronger, and see what he can do as a 3-year-old. And I would think that would be much the same the trajectory of Miss Meringue, only she got a couple little injuries that were bothering her, but very similar trajectory. Make sure we race her with him within his means, and then see what kind of 3-year-old we got. I would suspect that is the trajectory for Granite Hill. Harlanelle, who is now not Harlanelle, who is now Hope's Reprise. I don't know. That horse, you know, for all the horses it did well, but we thought they were going to. The big surprises of the day was Purple Aura, that 2 minutes, and quietly you didn't really notice Harlanelle, who we'll probably call him Harlanelle for a while until we get that into our head that it's Hope Surprise. Best I've ever seen him in his life. I would say minimal interference, very minimal interference, and if we can keep him at that position where he's not interfering anymore or very much, that he could be a good horse. I don't know how good. When I say good, 1, useful, 2, overnight or stallion horse. Now to think he would get to the stake level would be much more than good, but he was impressive. He was very impressive the other day. I'd like to race him this week at the Meadows, to be honest. They have a 2-year-old trot race written, so we'll see if Tim can get him in. But Hope's Reprisal, I don't know which one it is. Doesn't matter. Harlan will potentially race this week. Harvard Yard qualified good, 2-4, 2-5, last half in a minute. Tim was happy. I'm happy. She's going to race this week also. Hill of Magic. She may have been defeated in her qualifier, but that was a very good learning experience. I think Justin was very careful with her. He didn't want to have her make a break because I probably would make fun of him. But he did a good job getting her around. I think that she was a little bully at the start. You know, following horses, she's much stronger. She just needs to learn. This is a filly, keep in mind, this is a filly that was really hot, made a lot of breaks, took OCDs out of her. Then she played catch-up for the spring. Didn't really get the same education a lot of the other horses did. She's been very good off the gate, and I think you're going to see this filly get better and better and better. I'd like to be able to duck her first couple of starts, and then, you know, I think we could be looking at any type of filly throughout the summer. as I say it on the tip of my tongue, I suppose I'll be quite honest with you. I would be disappointed if she wasn't a stake filly, a sire stake filly. But we'll see. We don't know yet. So, Hill of Magic, I was very happy with. Kathy with an eye is over here now. Gee, she looks healthy. She's starting to put her weight back on, so that's good. We're going to get her down to Winterwood Farm. She's not going to race this season. We'll have her ready maybe for the winter for a couple of starts, or maybe next spring. But Kathy with an eye. Filly that I thought had a bright future but did catch pneumonia. She did recover. Will that play a role in the future? I don't know. I had pneumonia, 10 or 11 years ago in Ontario, and I'm not a long distance runner or sprinter, but it didn't bother me after that. So I think it was caught quickly. It was treated well, and she's over it. So what does that mean moving forward? I don't know, but we're going to find out. She looks fine to me. She looks great in the stall. Luck of the Dragon, back now. We got that palate trimmed up, the epiglottis. It's not entrapped. He looks good. Now I would imagine he's going to get back eating really good. I'm hoping to get a good fast mile into him 10 days from now. So we'll see. The timeline is not good, and he's not going to make. I think we all know by now. I'm trying to be optimistic and realistic. We had a lot of people that were hoping for the next generation for this colt. But to expect him, much like Isa 10, to expect him to be able to get over this, get the fast miles needed to be able to pace with those horses that have already gone those fast miles is a little much. So we'll likely either skip the next generation and sell that slot, or we will sell it to the procrastinator group. But that'll depend on a lot of things. One, the procrastinator group, and two, whether that makes sense for everybody, and three, how the horse continues on. 2 minutes 28.1's an awesome start, but it's still at least 6 seconds from the next generation series. So let's see how the next couple of weeks play out. Massive Profit was incredible the other day. Everybody noticed him. I was in the set, so I didn't get to look at him real good, but even a guy like Irv Miller watching our videos noticed Massive Profit. Jason noticed Massive Profit. Luke Ebersol loved the horse. Couldn't wait to tell me about it. This horse lost a shoe at the quarter pole and still looked that good. He's just a really, really good horse, and I cannot wait to see what he's going to do this summer. Matt's MVP was good. Told you guys. One of the first camera days since we started filming Matt's MVP, he behaved. But he looked good. Looked really good. But he dug in. You know, that horse looked like he was going to trot by him getting into the last turn, and Matt's MVP fought on to win the set. Did his work. Did it well. Very happy. A+, no complaints. I'm only going to touch on Miss Mildred this week and this week alone. I don't want to go down this road. It's a very upsetting thing. Miss Mildred was one of our best horses. She was switching gears halfway down the lane. James said she was just going to inhale the field, and in a very freak way, reached up, hit her tendon, and sliced it. And she'll never race again. And it is incredibly upsetting. I was almost in tears yesterday when I watched the video and then heard from the surgeon. But as I always say, we have the greatest clients on earth. The person that owned half of Miss Mildred, with me and two other people, were the breeders, the Schaefer Farms, in Pennsylvania, and I was beside myself. And after speaking to my partners on the horse, you know, I went from being quite distraught to being able to chalk it up to, this is a fragile game full of fragile animals sometimes, fragile people, and accidents happen, and there's nothing more you can do about it. So we had to rush her to the hospital and stitch that tendon up, the flexor tendon up. The prognosis for her living was excellent. The prognosis for her racing was quite poor. We're not going to go down that road at all. We're going to rest her, heal her up, we're going to breed her next year. So as depressing and as upsetting it is about Miss Mildred, this will likely be the last time you'll hear me talk about her for quite a while. It's just an unfortunate thing, and one that hurts a lot, but at the same time, I think we've all experienced heartbreak in one form or another, whether it be inside or outside horse racing, where something just happened in the blink of an eye, whether it was losing a loved one or getting in a car accident or whatever it was. And Johnny was very upset. The caretaker was in tears, and James, I'm sure went home and somehow tried to blame himself. But at the end of the day, there was no mistakes made. Just an unfortunate blink of an eye accident, and it is what it is. Mischievous Rose was very good this week, last half 57, and considering how she scoped after, incredibly good, actually. They scoped her full of mucus. They actually cultured the mucus to see if it was something other than allergies. I hope it is, because if it's allergies, she's probably going to have a light schedule through the heat of the summer, but that's how we're going to attack these horses. Mischievous Rose is, I suspect, a gold filly, but we're going to treat her properly. So if it's hot out, if it is allergy season, which it is, and the mucus that we saw in her throat the other day is attributed to allergies, then she'll probably have a light load throughout the hottest part of the summer. There's lots of racing and lots of time to make it in any super finals. Keep in mind the super finals are pretty cold in October, and picking our schedule to find a way, the path of least resistance for this particular filly will be our goal moving forward. If that culture doesn't come back with, she was sick, this is what will treat her, fine, treat her. And if it wasn't, it's mostly allergies, then okay, let's plot a course to the super final with this filly. And that's how I feel right now. Might be a little silly to say it because we have to see a ton of other fillies race, but knowing that this particular filly is fast, strong, and durable, if it is allergies, fine, no problem. Let's plot a course that we can make it to the super final with this filly without hurting her. That will be our job. Where are we at? Of Tom was incredible. Even James said, gee, she looked good. And this is James didn't like her because she has an unorthodox build. She's built like a giraffe. She's thin, like an arrow. When she trots slow, it almost looks like her hocks are going to hit each other. She's got that long gait. When she's moving, it's like water. It's fluid. It's hard to explain. I don't think I can tell you another horse. Like, we've had some gifted horses, not like Breeders' Crown, Hambleton. Well, we did. Lawmaker was the horse I was talking about. He raced them both. But he had a slick gait. This filly has got one of the most natural gaits I've ever seen in my life. No one could ever watch her or sit behind her and say, man, that's a beautiful horse, because she is. Just a beautiful, beautiful filly to watch. And the problem is that training down, she was like a giraffe, so she didn't have that sprint speed. Once in a while you'd get her to sprint, but she couldn't carry it. It's just impossible. And I really didn't know she'd be able to this year. Some of our clients were in the barn maybe 3-4 weeks ago and said, this is a beautiful filly, it'd be nice if she had a great summer. And I said, honestly, I don't know what she'll do this summer. I don't know what her max speed is. So we found out 2 weeks ago. 59, last half 57. I don't know where it came from, but it just showed up. And then for a qualifier the other day, she just couldn't outsprint that horse from the head of lane to the wire. But if I don't let him go at the half, I guarantee you she wins by 4 lengths. She was just learns. She's like a sponge. She understands everything. Like when I moved her over, she did all she could to get there. She just couldn't outsprint that horse. So knowing that she's not a sprinter, let's just not turn any of the races into sprints, and we'll be just fine. And I think that's the plan of attack with Of Tom in the 2021 season. 1-2 skip a few. I had some people say they were disappointed in this filly. Yeah, she was 7th. She trotted in 2-3. That's where she was ready to go. And for anybody that thought that 1-2 skip a few was going to go out and win the Ohio State Fair races or the Sire Stake final, I don't think I ever alluded to that. I like the filly. I own a sizable chunk of this filly. I have no problem with that. I've always loved 1-2 skip a few. And if she turns into a fair Buckeye filly, then that's perfectly fine with me. And anybody that believes that she should be more, I'm sorry, but again, we need to be able to temper our expectations with these horses. Sure, I'm an optimistic person. I'm hopeful that all the horses will do very, very well. But at the same time, at no point did I believe that 1-2 skip a few was a better filly than Of Tom or Isa 10. Not one time in my life. I just thought she was a nice filly. And I still think she's a nice filly. 2-3 last half in a minute in June for a 2-year-old trotting filly is still not a bad mile. So for the people that are somehow disappointed in 1-2 skip a few, I'm sorry, but that's as much on you as anything else. I like the filly. I'm very happy with her. If you're my partner on her out there, I have zero issues with 1-2 skip a few. She's dialed in. She will get better. She'll probably trot 59 this summer, 58, 59, and do her work well. Can't ask for much more than that. Peanut Butter and Jelly will be ready to go next week. I know a lot of people are asking, where's Tioga Sunshine? Where's Peanut Butter and Jelly? Where's Almost There Boss? Where's Arches Rainbow? The horses can't all be ready on the first qualifying day, nor do they have to be ready. And I understand the questions are fair because I didn't tell anybody until I was asked. Because a lot of the horses, I just told Harry, Mario, and Mario had 2 also, and Johnny, just qualify them when they're ready. If you want another week, take another week. And that's exactly what they did. But there is, other than what happened yesterday, there are no injuries out of Ontario to speak of. There's no, hey, we got to get this horse to the vet. Hey, this horse is sick. Hey, this horse is lame. None of that. The only issue is Arches Rainbow, whose AST was high and was a little bit sick, but they're treating her. And if she qualifies this week, great. If she needs another week, take another week. And she's already there. She's been in 2-3 last half in a minute, twice. So, back to the question, where's Peanut Butter and Jelly? In her stall, and she will qualify next week at Mohawk. Prairie Fire, I don't think that was a great Prairie Fire the other day. He came in, he touched his elbows, his toes were too long, he was needed to be shod. But I do not like shoeing horses close to the race, but I'm going to have to get over it because the blacksmith's not there until Tuesday. So Prairie Fire won't be shod until Tuesday, and he's qualifying Thursday. They're going to take a sizable amount of foot off him and change the weight on his feet. Whew, that's going to be tough to get that guy to trot. That'll be concerning. We'll have to see how he warms up on Thursday. That's a sizable change in this young colt's shoeing. There's nothing we can do. I was going to get him shod yesterday, but there was no blacksmith there at Northfield Park yesterday. Our blacksmith travels to PA up around the Meadows and here, so he's only here 2 or 3 days a week. He was here the other day, Wednesday, Thursday, and then couldn't shoe Prairie Fire. Can't shoe him till Tuesday. We'll see how he is this week. Procrastinator was great. Now the only issue I have with Procrastinator, he wears flip-flops. He can't wear those at Scioto Downs. So the track, historically, you just can't race well over there with flip-flops on, especially a pacer. So we're going to take those off, try them with a full suede shoe, let his hobbles out. I'm interested to see how this colt's going to look this week. Purple Aura was great. No complaints there. A+ from her. Well beyond my expectations. I thought 2-2, 2-3. I know I trained her in 2 minutes, but was she going to do it that way? Pooh. She looked very, very good. Renegade Gypsy looked great. Somebody said, he looked okay. Okay. Let's just take it down a notch. This horse is as big as that house I'm parked in front of right now. He's massive. For him to go out and come a quarter and 28 in a mile in 2 minutes, if you thought he should have done more, then there's an issue here, and it isn't with the horse or me. You need to really temper your expectations. This is a good horse, but he needs 3 fast miles in him before you're going to start to see him start to look like a big, shiny horse. Just going to take time and work. Mario has done a great job with him. I thought the horse looked exceptionally well. Would you rather him chase him and chase him and chase him and have him make a break at the wire? No. I don't want the horse stretched out. I was very happy with Renegade Gypsy the other day. Very happy, and exactly what I hoped to see with him. He looked great. He did a great job with him, and I was very happy with Renegade Gypsy. Resolute Bay looked good also. I think if you look at the pictures, they told me he's got a little rash on him right now. He's trying to get over a little rash, so obviously physically he's not at 100%, but come a quarter and 28 seconds, mile 2-3. Couldn't ask for much more than that from this guy. He's going to get better and better and better, but it has to start with his health also. Rose Above It was good. I think he just got lost first over. Another horse might race him at the Meadows this week. He's ready to go. He understands what he's supposed to do. I don't think I'm going to be in a first over position with him ever again, but understands what his job is, make no mistake. Rosie's Masterpiece has been training great, and Mario just asked for another week. Of course, don't have to ask, just don't enter. Race her qualifier next week. She apparently looked great. Slim Jimmy, I told him to qualify him again. He said, no, take him over there. He said he qualified great. He looked awesome. He said he's over on the right shaft a bit. Something bugging him left hind. Might be a hock or an ankle, not a big deal. But he wanted to get him over here for us in time to in time to train him, requalify him, get him looked at by the vet, just make sure he's ready to go. So no problem. Slim Jimmy will be coming here immediately. Spent qualified well, but still touching that right hind a little bit. So I think we'll change a few more shoeing, make a few little more shoeing changes on Spent, and then go with him again this week. Where does that leave us? Stonebridge Dolce is training good. She's going to need another few weeks, right? She's going to need some time. But the fact that she's getting close to the races is impressive. You know, I never did take on partners. I still got to work things out with, obviously, Stonebridge Farms and Dr. Stiller. This is a filly that was really way behind everybody and really didn't show a whole lot until now. Starting to look good. Johnny's going to go over and train her again this week with James and see how she's coming. Stonebridge Akati, Mario said looks incredible. He's been in 2-3 or 2-4 with him, I believe. He's going to qualify this week. Sweet on Pete. I told everybody, for all you guys that were dumping the Pete shares out there, got to get rid of Pete, got to get rid of Pete. She's too big, she's too this, she's too that. Told you. You just got to take your time. This filly will hold up. She'll have a great summer. She's got a big, strong frame and a great family. Looked awesome the other day. Keep in mind, I had been in 2 minutes with Purple Aura before she qualified in 2 minutes. We had been in 2.6 with Sweet on Pete 2 weeks before she qualified in 2.1. Keep that in the back of your mind. Sweet on Pete, lots of upside to this filly and looks great. 3-point blue chip. I've talked about this horse in the opening in another video. I got lots of hope for him. I'm very happy now with where I see his attitude coming, but he's not ready to go, and I'm going to let him tell me when he's ready to go. This is a horse we have staked into everything on planet Earth, and listen, he's staked right through the end of the year. There's no rush with this horse. I'm not going to qualify him just to say I qualified him. I've been happy with him. I continue to be happy with him. I had mentioned in the opening that, you know, if he's as good as I think he is, and if he continues to train down the way he is, he may end up in a barn like Ben Bergeron's, because we have, I talked to Tom Grossman the other day, and at that time I thought I had him staked in Kentucky for some reason, which meant I said Aki Svanstedt or maybe with Ray Schnicker and Mark, or even Nancy, if anybody really, but it should be in a top stake barn that can focus on that type of horse. We have stake horses all over North America. We're worried about racing everybody everywhere, and we're not going to New Jersey, right? Now we do have people in Ontario, but at the same time, I think a horse like him, if we're looking at hopefully, potentially Champlain, Wellwood, Breeders' Crown, or Valley Victory, you know, should be in a barn that can focus on horses like that. And I got to be honest. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong. When I say top trotting barn in Canada, I think Ben Bergeron's near the top, or top for sure, isn't he? I think he is. So as I say that, I've never talked to Ben Bergeron, not once in my life, about this horse. But at the same time, I think it makes sense. So as of right now, first things first, continue to train the colt down, continue to listen well when he's talking, and get him ready to go, and have him ready to go when he's ready. So that's the plan with 3-point blue chip. I've been very, very happy with this colt. In fact, as I said the other day, he's undefeated training here in Northfield. Taiwan On looked incredible the other day, didn't she? Bar hopping filly. Looked really, really good. Mario said she was strong. She'll be coming over here for the stake races at some point in the next week or two. Tioga Sunshine. James trained her the other day, said she was much, much better. I've talked to Nellie and Harry. Her appetite is picked up. She's starting to shine and put weight on. This filly reminds me a lot of Tipsy and Dixie last year, so super excited to see Tioga Sunshine. I don't think you're going to see her go out and qualify in 59 or 2 minutes next week. I think you're probably going to see her go a mile in 2.2, 2.3, but look really good doing it. That's what I expect for next week from Tioga Sunshine. Twinbee Habanero's been in 2.7, probably 3 weeks away from qualifying, but this is a big colt with a big frame. Really happy to hear that he's going good, but excited to see where it's gonna culminate to. Twinkle in Her Eye, 2-1 last quarter and 28-3. You know what? She's gonna need another qualifier or two, and then we'll make a decision of what we feel about her. I like what I saw from her. You know, it's a little upsetting to see some horses qualify 57, 58, then your horse going 2-1. You're like, oh, she was good, but it's hard with baby racing. You can never tell. You really just have to let it play out. We'll see how Twinkle in Her Eye looks next week. Unbeatable Kemp, that was a sore spot. That horse looked incredible, but was really hot, and that was my fault. I told Amy to take the hood and the mini bit off him, and I really shouldn't have. I didn't expect him to get like that. When I cleared to the front, had he not made a break, he's going to trot 58 on a half-mile track. He looked very, very good. but need to keep his wits about him. I think we'll go to earplugs and a snake quarter mini bit next week. I'm sure he'll be just fine. And as I say that, I don't think we'll qualify him at Northfield. I might take him to the Meadows the following Tuesday to go with him over there. You Gotta Believe, little break, although they didn't chart it. He made a little break the other day, but that's not a big deal. We'll requalify him on Thursday. Voyage of Ice and Fire was awesome. He's going to need those fast miles heading in. You can see him, right? He gets a little bit better every time, and he was sprinting at the wire. It was so exciting to watch that horse finish up his mile the other day. He'll go to Scioto on the 2nd. We will requalify him this week at Northfield Park, or we may actually look for a maiden at Scioto. That was Jason's job for today. I talked to Jason. I said, hey, let's get... Let's see if we can get a couple of these horses in and get them prepared. Scioto, if they're going to write 2-year-old class, is great. I know that the Meadows wrote them for next week. I wonder if Scioto did too. It's an easy fix. Just look it up. We'll talk about Will to Win Hanover again. She's not going to race this year. She might race at the end of the year. A minor injury, but in the scheme of things, you see now how minor the injury is, because there are injuries that are much more major than this one. Her foot, that little line in her foot, will heal perfectly. Prognosis is excellent. It'll never probably bother her again, but it was there. But it says a lot about her physical readiness. So I'm glad it just ended up being a line in her foot and not a slab fracture in her knee or a broken cannon bone or pastern. What she injured will heal 100%. She might be a better horse overall for it. And then World for Two. What about our boy World for Two? 2 minutes 27 flat on the end of it. Gonna have to pack some speed and power into that big frame. And I told Mario, do not rush. For those of you out there that are my partners on this horse, you're saying, okay, when do we get him to PA? He's not leaving Canada for a while. I'm not in a rush to get him to Pennsylvania to get his head ripped off here. These horses are going to be ready to rock. Of Burks and all those other guys, they've qualified them in 55, 56, and if they had him, I guarantee you they've trained them there. I'm not hurting this colt. I think he's fast. I think he's talented. Bring him along nicely. Probably qualify him again, race him at Georgian Downs. And if he's not 100% ready to rock right now, don't race him right now. Take a couple of weeks, make sure his knees are good, make sure his feet are good. I want to take this colt along properly and have a nice summer with him. And at some point, if we want to bring him anywhere, we can. Trucks run back and forth every single week. But I'm not sending him back home because he's not good enough. I'm only bringing him here when he's good enough. So as excited as I am for World for Two, he's not coming to Pennsylvania right away. He's going to stay in Ontario and race and get some experience. And if Mario thinks he's good, he might be good enough, fine, we'll bring him over here, race him in a 2-year-old maiden at the Meadows. We'll see how he is. But there's no hurry to drop the hammer on a horse that we've been so careful with all year. So those are our 2-year-olds, for better or for worse. I think we had a huge week, didn't we, this week? Super happy with the way the qualifiers went. Obviously not without our bad luck and our good luck, but at the same time, things are looking great for the 2021 summer season. I really couldn't, it's tough to say I could be happy. Obviously, I could think of one thing I'd be happier with, but for the most part, under the entire banner of the stable, super happy with the way the 2-year-olds have looked. So, I'll be back with the 3-year-olds in a minute. I'll talk to you soon.